1087, the death of William I, King of England. The year 1087 marked the end of an era with the death of William I, also known as William the Conqueror, one of the most influential figures in medieval European history. Born around 1028 in Falaise, Normandy, William rose from a tumultuous childhood to become the Duke of Normandy and, eventually, the King of England after his famous victory at the Battle of Hastings in 1066. His death in 1087 left a significant impact on both England and Normandy, setting off a series of events that shaped the future of Western Europe. Let's explore the life and legacy of William I, examining his rise to power, his reign over England and Normandy, his death in 1087, and the immediate and long-term effects on the political and social structures of the time. William's early life and rise to power. William was born the illegitimate son of Robert I, Duke of Normandy, and Herleva, a woman of lower social status. His illegitimacy earned him the nickname William the Bastard. Despite this challenging start, William's father recognized him as his heir, a decision that would shape the future of Normandy and England. Upon Robert's death in 1035, young William, then just 7 or 8 years old, became Duke of Normandy, a title that thrust him into a volatile political environment. Normandy in the early 11th century was characterized by feudal anarchy. As a child duke, William faced numerous threats to his life and power from rival nobles and even within his own court. His early years were marked by several assassination attempts, and he had to fight hard to maintain his rule. The support of his liege lord, King Henry I of France, was crucial in these formative years. William's eventual consolidation of power was achieved through a mix of ruthless suppression of rebellion, strategic marriages, and alliances with powerful Norman barons. By the 1050s, William had solidified his hold over Normandy. His marriage to Matilda of Flanders in 1051 further strengthened his political alliances and provided him with legitimate heirs, crucial for the continuation of his dynasty. His attention, however, was soon to turn towards a much greater prize, the Kingdom of England. The conquest of England and establishment as king. The death of Edward the Confessor in 1066 without a clear heir sparked a succession crisis in England. William, a distant cousin of Edward, claimed that Edward had promised him the throne. Furthermore, he argued that Harold Godwin's son, who had assumed the throne, had previously sworn an oath to support William's claim. William's claim was not merely a legal maneuver, but part of a larger strategy to expand his power beyond Normandy. The famous Battle of Hastings on October 14, 1066, was the turning point that allowed William to realize his ambitions. After a hard-fought battle, Harold II was killed, and William emerged victorious. On Christmas Day of the same year, he was crowned King of England in Westminster Abbey, a momentous occasion that signaled the beginning of Norman rule in England. The conquest, however, was far from secure. William faced immediate resistance from the English nobility and several uprisings in the north and the west of England. His response was ruthless. The harrying of the north from 1069 to 1070 was a brutal campaign that destroyed much of northern England, decimating the population and ensuring that the region could no longer resist Norman control. This campaign demonstrated his willingness to use extreme measures to secure his rule. Over time, William replaced the English aristocracy with Norman barons and introduced a new feudal system, which reshaped the social, political, and economic landscape of England. The construction of castles across the country, including the Tower of London, helped to establish Norman dominance and control over the subjugated population. William's reign, governance and reforms. William I's reign was characterized by significant administrative, social, and economic changes in England. One of the most notable achievements was the commissioning of the Domesday Book in 1085. This monumental survey was an extensive record of land holdings, resources, and the population across England, providing William with a comprehensive understanding of the kingdom's wealth and resources. It was both a tool for governance and a means to levy taxes effectively. The Domesday Book also served to legalize and formalize William's ownership claims over English lands, legitimizing the transfer of property to his Norman followers. William also reformed the English Church, which he saw as a potential source of resistance. He replaced Anglo-Saxon bishops with Norman clergy loyal to him, reshaping the Church's structure to ensure its support for his rule. His relationship with the papacy was complex. While he sought to assert his authority over ecclesiastical matters, he remained a devout Christian and a staunch supporter of reform within the Church. The reforms he enacted helped to align the English Church more closely with continental practices, reducing its previous independence. Feudalism, as introduced by William, also had a profound impact on English society. Under the feudal system, the king owned all the land, which he granted to his most loyal barons in exchange for military service. These barons, in turn, parcelled out land to knights and lesser nobles, creating a strict hierarchical structure. This system centralized authority and control under William, reducing the power of local lords and increasing the king's influence over the kingdom. However, William's rule was not without controversy or opposition. His reign saw frequent conflicts with his neighbors in Normandy and France, as well as with his own barons, who sometimes resented his tight control and demands for loyalty. The tension between England and Normandy was also a significant challenge, as William struggled to maintain his hold over both realms. The death of William I in 1087. William I's death on September 9, 1087, marked the end of a turbulent but transformative reign. The circumstances surrounding his death were both tragic and somewhat symbolic of his tumultuous life. At the time, William was campaigning in France against King Philip I, who had insulted him by making jokes about his weight. During the siege of Mantes, William's horse stumbled, throwing him against the pommel of his saddle and causing severe internal injuries. The injury left him bedridden for several weeks, during which he displayed moments of piety, penitence, and concern for his legacy. Realizing that he was dying, William took measures to secure the future of his territories. He divided his lands between his two sons. Robert received Normandy, while William Rufus, William II, was given the crown of England. His third son, Henry, was granted a significant amount of treasure to secure his future. William's death, however, was marked by chaos and indignity. According to chroniclers, his body was abandoned by his servants and looted by local townspeople. When his body was eventually transported to Caen for burial, it was too large for the sarcophagus prepared for it, and efforts to force the body inside reportedly caused it to rupture, filling the church with a foul odor. This unceremonious end to William's life was in stark contrast to his powerful and authoritative reign, illustrating the often brutal realities of medieval power and mortality. Immediate impact of William's death. The death of William I left a significant power vacuum in both England and Normandy. His decision to divide his realms between his sons was a strategic move meant to prevent the consolidation of power that might threaten the stability of his conquests. However, this decision also set the stage for conflict between his heirs. In England, William II, William Rufus, faced immediate challenges to his authority. The Anglo-Norman barons, who held lands in both England and Normandy, were often caught between conflicting loyalties. Many resented William II's rule and felt that his elder brother, Robert, had a more legitimate claim. This tension led to a rebellion in 1088, which William II managed to suppress, but only with great difficulty. Normandy, on the other hand, faced its own set of challenges under Robert, who was seen as a weak and ineffective leader. Robert's rule was marred by conflicts with his neighbors and internal dissension among the Norman barons. His lack of control contrasted sharply with his father's strong rule, leading to instability and division in Normandy. Long-term consequences of William's death. The consequences of William's death extended far beyond the immediate struggles between his sons. The division of his territory sowed the seeds of prolonged conflict between England and Normandy. This tension would eventually culminate in the eventual reunification of the two territories under Henry I, William's youngest son, who seized both the English and Norman thrones by 1106. William I's death also marked a shift in the political landscape of England. The introduction of Norman feudalism and the changes to the church set the foundation for the English medieval state. The centralization of power under the king, begun under William's rule, continued to evolve, leading to the development of a more unified and organized state apparatus. The cultural impact of William's conquest was profound. The blending of Anglo-Saxon and Norman cultures led to changes in language, art, architecture, and governance. The Norman influence permeated all levels of English society, from the construction of stone castles and cathedrals to the evolution of English law and administration. William's legacy, a complex historical figure. William I's legacy is a subject of considerable debate among historians. To some, he is a brutal conqueror who imposed foreign rule on England through violence and coercion. The harrying of the north and the displacement of the Anglo-Saxon nobility are often cited as examples of his harsh methods. To others, he is seen as a transformative figure who laid the foundations for the modern English state. His administrative reforms, including the Domesday Book, and his efforts to bring England in line with continental European practices, helped shape the future development of the country. William's dual identity as both Duke of Normandy and King of England also highlights the interconnectedness of European politics during the medieval period. His reign underscores the complex relationship between England and the continent, a relationship that would continue to evolve over the centuries. Thus, the death of William I in 1087 marked the end of a remarkable life and the beginning of a new chapter in European history. His rise from a young, illegitimate duke to the King of England was marked by ambition, determination, and a willingness to use any means necessary to achieve his goals. His death left a profound impact on both England and Normandy, shaping the course of their histories for centuries to come. While his methods were often brutal and his reign marked by conflict, William I's contributions to the development of the English state, the church, and the feudal system cannot be overlooked. His legacy, like his life, is complex, reflecting the multifaceted nature of power and authority in the medieval world. The events following his death illustrate the fragility of medieval rule and the ever-present threats to political stability, a reality that shaped the politics of Europe in the centuries that followed. Thanks for listening. Like and comment. And please subscribe, as that will help us get more videos out to those interested in the Middle Ages. See you next time on Medieval Chronicles 1066. Stay curious.